Wow. This series, man, it's definitely something. It is definitely something. When the alts are being made in this episode, I'm just thinking back on what I used to do when I make a new alt when I'm playing an MMO or something. Just as a brief example here and a summary to what happened in this episode, obviously a new person is starting an MMO. They're trying to play the game. They're a total newbie. And when you start a game with someone, obviously, you want to usually start completely over. It's like this with almost any game. Not just, MMORPGs, but any RPG or even shooters, whatever. Usually, gamers, if they have a friend that's new to the series, typically they like to start completely over with their friend so they can experience it together at the same time. And also, we gotta remind ourselves the reason why we also do this is because if we were to, let's say, bring in our level 80, Demon Hunter or something, into, a dungeon with them while they're level 5, we're just gonna carry them, do everything for them, and they're gonna be relatively bored. They're gonna be extremely bored, or they don't want to do anything. They'll probably just get off the game because it's just so easy, or they're not really doing anything at all. And so when you see that little element in this episode, when Morty makes her new character, and then, Sakurai, he's starting to make his alt character, I'm like, this is really cool. That reminds me of that type of situation. But also, I really like the fact that how Morty had a very real-life aspect or experience in this episode. Let me explain. So, she's sitting there on her main character, her main tune or whatever, and she's sitting there, about to go, party, do a dungeon or whatever, and all of a sudden she's like, hey guys, I gotta get off for today. I gotta go and all that, I'm busy, and then she logs off. And obviously, as soon as she logs off, she's actually just creating a new character. And this is something that I think many of us can agree on that we've probably done one time or another in the past. Typically, if you're playing online, let's say Steam, you're playing on, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, whatever, just depending on whatever online service you're using, basically, you probably have that moment where you're playing with a certain amount of friends you play with every day, but there's this one time to where there's this new person that's wanting to play, and you just completely say, I gotta go, and you cut off all contact, and then you play for the rest of the day with this other person. That is very real, and I was like, yo, this is just hitting me right there. I remember doing this a lot back in the day, a very long time ago when I was playing, Dark Souls 2 and 1. I remember I used to do that quite a bit, so that right there, I like that aspect of this episode. Now, it reminded me of, once again, real-life events. So anyways, let's get into exactly what this episode was about. So, once again, Sakurai is showcasing that he is a very, very shy individual. He is someone that lacks self-confidence. Now, I've already kind of discussed this in previous episode reviews because it's been very apparent that that's probably his main issue. Morty, she also kind of lacks certain confidence in herself, and she doesn't have, the possibility of probably getting a job right now because she was mentally scarred by it. We've seen that already with her little segments of her past. But in this case, though, Sakurai, his aspect of why he wants to separate real life from in-game life is also something that has happened probably to many others out there in the world. And I'm not going to go into the exact details I've already covered because I've already discussed this already, how many people love to escape to different things. The reason why people play games is usually to escape from their actual reality, their life, and forget things. And in this case, that's what Sakurai is doing. He's escaping, reality. He doesn't want to, have both sides mix, both of his worlds. It's like you have a gamer self, and then you have your real life self. When let's say you know someone, okay, online, and then you notice that they act very different online compared to how they act in real life. Well, that's basically what's going on here. Sakurai is the type of person that has, two different parts of himself. He is an online gamer, and he has this other personality, and then you have his real-life self, this other personality. They're two separate people. They're the same person, but they're, two separate personalities. They act completely different in their environment, and that is what's happening here. And the big issue is that Sakurai's life, his in-game life, and his, real life, they're both clashing right now, because number one, Morty from real life, she is, playing the same game with him. Now, obviously, she doesn't know this, but he knows, which complicates the entire issue. But then on top of that, you have Kawhi that's also joining in, which is also complicating his in-game life and all that. So all these little things are happening are just really, upsetting him in a way, because he is typically someone that likes to keep things just completely separate. He doesn't want to have it in both sides. For instance, if he wants to escape escape his in-game life, he can go to the real life, or real world, and if he wants to escape the real world, his other life, he can go back into in-game, and that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to have both of them mixing together, but that's exactly what is going on. So it's a very real thing. It's a very real topic that has probably happened to some out there. I'm willing to bet that, and I just find that really cool, and just intriguing with how this series manages to handle stuff like this. So, anyways, with that being said, though, let's talk about the actual foreshadowing and also the setup for the upcoming episodes. So, we already know that a long time ago, apparently Morty had this friend that she lost. She used to play this game with someone a while back. She lost this friend. She lost contact with this person, and she's never really gotten in contact with this person ever again. And in this case, we can see that in this episode that it's very apparent that it is Sakurai that was the friend that Morty lost. So when you look at all these things, it's like fate is saying these two are destined to be together. I mean, look, they met each other online and all that, and there's the possibility they could have met each other before that, maybe in real life, but they met each other online, they played this game for a while, they got to know each other, they talked to each other, they shared personal life experiences with each other, but then they separated and they never really had contact anymore. Then she goes to the same job, like the same area to where he's working in real life, and she doesn't even know it. Eventually, you know, she leaves that job, she meets the same person again in another MMO, and then eventually they find out. So just, it's like fate or destiny. It's like, these two have to be together. They need to be together. And I find that very adorable, and I mean, I'm really liking the progression of this series, because even though some things are very predictable, and you can kind of guess what might happen next, it is still a very fun series, especially with these latest episodes. So yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, this episode was incredibly simple. It wasn't nothing like, you know, mind-blowing in terms of just like, man, I need to think on this, but it was a very enjoyable episode that just puts a smile on my face. It's something I look forward to every single Friday, and I think everybody can agree with me that this is probably one of the best of Fall of Anime 2017. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How you feel about this week's episode? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? How do you feel about these, you know, lifelong friends basically finally meeting up again? Please be honest in the comments below. And do you think that Sakurai is going to be able to overcome his, you know, his actual shy personality, be able to kind of open up and have more self-confidence? Be honest in the comments below. So if you enjoy my content, please subscribe, and if you like this video, please leave a like, and if you don't like my video, obviously, you know, leave a dislike. Don't fault you for it. So I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.